team was decimated with injuries all year long, and you can't play Coach Ham's system with 10 or 12 guys when you're limited with a 6 or 7 man rotation. So they're finally healthy and they're competing and they're starting to play good basketball.
Florida State wins the tip in the home white. Georgia Tech in the road blue and gold trim. AJ Desai, Jamel Spearman, Michael Kitts are officials. Inside to Malique Ewin, the JUCO transfer who has been excellent in league play, showing a little rope-a-dope.
Great sign to go to him early. He's really been playing well. To go to him in a post, to attack Soiree, great footwork, using pump fakes, getting that angle, putting the Seminoles up with a quick deuce.
Georgia Tech using its 7th different starting lineup today, in large part due to all the injuries. Terry, a high pass, and the first turnover gives it back to the Seminoles.
That's what the Seminoles want to do. They want to speed you up, force turnovers. Georgia Tech has got to take care of the basketball and find a way to get shots so they can set their defense.
Jameer Watkins, not only the leading scorer on this team, the lone returning starter from a season ago for Florida State.
And that's what's been important with this group is his leadership.
Bol Bowen for 3.
He's starting to knock it down. He's starting to heat up from behind the three-point line. The defense and the talent's always been there. The shooting is starting to come.
Long pass ahead to Chandler Jackson. He was trying to shuffle it to Bol Bowen. Now up ahead to Terry. Oh, what a reverse by the Georgia Tech leading scorer.
You can tell Malique Ewin has seen the highlights of Lance Terry and his athleticism. He wanted no parts of trying to challenge him at the rim.
Oh, deep 3 from Watkins. And now Javian McCollum, the Oklahoma transfer, brings it up the floor. Being relied upon more as that was blocked by Ewin. And up ahead to Davis. Defense to offense, that is this team's calling card.
That's their identity and what's happened. Malique Ewin as a center, his ability, as we just saw, to defend point guards or any guard on the perimeter without help is why this Seminole team is just surging now and creating so many issues for their opponents. And now you see he rebounds and he's able to push the basketball, so it makes them even better in transition.
Davis for 3. Quick pace to start this game here in Tallahassee. McCollum the pull-up. And now Davis 2-on-2. Not much of a resistance there from Nate George.
It's just too easy there. I think they had numbers, and George, this team can ill afford to pick up fouls, what you see there. They know they have a lack of depth right now. They're probably going to go 5 or 6 deep. I mean 6 deep, maybe one other big coming in. Ryan Mutombo will come in for a few minutes, but they're going to play with 6 guys, and you saw him there not wanting to commit a foul.
Only played 6 in the second half, loss to Clemson. Mutombo, who started that game, did not play in the second half, and they lost Jaden Mustaf for part of it. He is out again today for Georgia Tech. McCollum, no from 3.
Not many teams have a big man that can guard you one-on-one, meet you at the rim, and slap it off the backboard and start the break. You cannot. No one turns defense into offense the way the Seminoles do.
And their length has been so disruptive, particularly in games where they've asserted themselves, Randolph. 5 out of the last 7 games they have won. Defense has been a big part of it.
Jameer Watkins has led the way doing that, but also the injecting Daquan Davis in the starting lineup and the way he's been attacking point guards. I thought he was the key to the pitch game. He started out his defense against Lowe. I think catapulted this Seminole team over the win over the Panthers.
It was a 12-point win for Florida State here at home. That is a foul on Davis, and it will send Duncan Powell to the line.
You never want to foul a jump shooter, and it's a bad foul by the freshman Eric on Powell. Powell's not a great shooter. He's in the game. He's only shooting 33% behind the three-point line. Doesn't take a ton. You like to contest, but you don't want to foul.
Well, Florida State's offense has gotten off to incredibly slow starts during this 3-game losing streak. Trailed 50-19 at the half in the loss to SMU. Earlier this week, they went 7 minutes without scoring a point in the loss to Clemson. Looking for something here, a spark for Coach Stoudemire's team against the Florida State group that is so disruptive defensively.
You want to control the tempo and pace, but it's challenging because you're playing this game, as we talked about. You're going to have a 3-guard rotation, and you're going to rotate your bigs. 3 guards, you know, these 3 bigs together, and so you're trying to conserve fouls, you're trying to conserve energy, and the Seminoles just don't do that. They want to play at an up-tempo pace, speed you up. As you see, Yellow Jackets now falling back into the zone, and they'll play a lot of zone again. Don't have the bodies the Seminoles have, and we'll see how long they can hold it in the zone.
Well, with Watkins hitting threes like that, that'll challenge the zone.
That's where that's acceptable. Corner, baseline threes. Last thing you want to see is the Seminoles knocking down 3-point shots. They're deadly at attacking the rim, but they've struggled from behind the 3-point line.
10 to shoot. Lance Terry still looking for his first points. And that was blocked. Ewin got a piece of it. Ball still on the floor and scooped up by Florida State. Double comes. Extra pass, open 3. Dang from downtown. Timeout, Georgia Tech.
There's no letdown with the Seminoles. Coach Ham was concerned about the energy of his group. That question's been answered. They're coming out, shooting the lights out from behind the 3-point line. Seminoles up early.
Georgia Tech head coach, first year, great building block of success, had 4 quad 1 or 2 wins. This year it's been a different story, Randolph, in large part because of the injuries.
I mean, it's just been impossible. They can't practice a lot. They can't go up and down 5-on-5. They've just been limited. It's been one injury after another, and even Georgia's missed time. Javion McCullum has missed time. It just has been so many injuries. It's just hadn't had a chance to have any continuity in practice.
Coacey Reeves has not played a single ACC game, and he was really turning into quite a player for Damon Stoudemire. You see all the guys in boots today for Georgia Tech. 3 different players out with various lower body injuries. Not having Coacey Reeves, not having the shooter in O'Brien, it has affected what they're able to do offensively.
Oh, absolutely. And you look at this group, I thought the Georgia Tech team was the team that could take a step. In a year where you're wondering outside of Duke, where's the ACC going to go? Who's going to step up? I thought they had a chance, but they've just been derailed with the injuries and the inconsistencies in the lineup and their production. It's just limited them so much.
They have not scored a field goal in the last 3.5 minutes, and McCollum ends that with a jumper in the lane.
They've got to find a way to get Baidongo involved in this game. He hasn't attempted a shot. He's also a preseason second teamer, and when they switch these ball screens, we're seeing the guards doing a lot of attacking, but let's not forget the inside of Georgia Tech. They have guards on them, and Baidongo's a heck of a player. He's got to get more touches and attack those guards.
Here's Boston Holt off the bench. Dang, no, but there was a foul, and that will send Dang to the line.
A lot of great ball movement by Florida State. They've knocked down a couple of threes, but they're not settling. Great pass and great cut there.
Well, a big Tuesday night in college basketball. First off, in the SEC, Tennessee, 1 loss this year, 6th ranked team. That loss came to Florida. Meanwhile, your alma mater against North Carolina in a game that will have major March Madness implications.
It is. I think it's a big opportunity for Wake Forest. They have Duke and Carolina back-to-back home games. I think it gives the Deeks a chance to elevate themselves in the eyes of the committee.
Duncan Powell Draws a foul on Dang, and he's headed back to the foul line.
If you're Georgia Tech, you can't panic. You got to continue to space the basketball, spread it, move around. But when you drive, you got to be a passer when you drive. This Florida State Seminole defense, they're collapsing. They lead the ACC in block shots and steals. So when you dribble it, you're going to draw a crowd.
They are a very physical team. They've allowed the 4th most free throw attempts in the ACC. So if you're Georgia Tech, maybe that's a recipe to stay in this game, be competitive, given the lack of rotational depth that they have with all the injuries.
So you're going to have to control the tempo of that. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to defend. They're going to foul. But they have the bodies to do so. And they're just going to continue to rotate guys in and out. So Georgia Tech starting to extend this zone a little bit. You got to keep the ball out of the middle. For Florida State, you want to find the right shooters. And 25 Thomas is one of those guys. You got to know where he is at all times against the zone.
Jackson with 5 in the lane. The bunny won't go, and a great rebound by Dongo, who is coming off his 5th double-double of the season in the loss to Clemson.
He's got to get it going on the offensive end. They got to find a way to get the ball in his hands.
There he is on the low block, defended by Dang. Back inside with 5.
You can't settle. The double team's coming. First time he's touched, so he had to let that one go. Get himself going. I know the feeling. Played 7 minutes of the game and not get a touch. He was going to determine to shoot that one, but great defense by the Seminoles.
Holt for 3. Oh, what a rebound that was by Malique, fresh and off the bench. 15 on the timer for Florida State. Dang left open. Oh, rims it in, his 2nd 3.
That's a mistake because Jerry Dang is a shooter. He's got to know where he is when he gets in the lineup. So completely just lost him and not communicating on the defensive end of the floor.
Already 4 made 3s in this game for Florida State, a team that's averaging 6.5 per game.
That's not their strength. They're knocking down 3s. They're a tough out. Ball is sticking and a lot of dribbling. Got to move bodies and move the basketball right now.
Great pass. Terry is laid in, and now they're going to wave off the basket. It was interfered with by Dongo, and he didn't have to do it because McCollum had put it down.
Just see a lot of frustration right there. Doesn't have many touches. Georgia Tech's got to settle down. They want to get back in this game.
Calling the floor is offensive pass interference. Previous plays under review.
Well, they just reviewed the call on the floor, and it is
After-
confirmed by Dongo.
After review,
with the
the
basket.
call on the floor stands.
Right there. Ball was already starting to rim back down on the lay-in by Javian McCollum. Is this just the team pressing a little bit too much because they've only made 2 free?
Exactly, and then a really good player that hasn't been involved in this first half yet on the offensive end of the floor. And in this lineup, there's matchups you got to watch. Florida State does so much switching. The guards right now are doing predominantly the shooting because they're attacking the bigs. But on the inside, by Dongo and these bigs are guarded by the guards. They have a mismatch inside and they're a little bit frustrated not getting touches. And, you know, situations like that happen when you're pressing. You're trying to do things. And Florida State just being disruptive right now. That's what they do. So let's see if this zone right now works. The biggest question they got to have now is, can Georgia Tech rebound out of this zone? Look for Florida State to get right there in the middle of that zone there and got to rebound it.
Another offensive rebound leads to a Holt. Second chance points. And Damon Stoudemire not pleased.
Now with Dongo out, he was their leading rebounder. He has 6 rebounds. Georgia Tech only has 7, so someone has to step up on the floor and rebound in the zone.
And already 8 of Florida State's 21 points have come on second chances.
Turnover. The pressure. This is what happens against Florida State. They're switching everything. They're denying. They're pressuring your guards. You get sped up. You've got to remain calm. You've got to slow down. You've got to be smart about what you're doing and get a quality shot. Right now, Florida State's getting whatever they want. The mid-range guys are getting to the basket. The three-point shooters are getting looks behind the line and can't get sped up. They're going to switch. They're going to deny. With this lineup on the floor now, it's got to be Davion McCollum, and Nate George has got to be aggressive. He's a pass-first guy.
Extra pass to George. Rebound effort by Suarez, and he wins a foul. It'll stay here.
Good possession offensively for Georgia Tech, though. The ball's moving from second to third side. Got a good look. Didn't knock it down, but when the shots go up like that, you kind of get a chance to get in the extra possession because everyone knows your offensive guys crash the glass. Now, this is another part of the game because Florida State runs this man matchup zone here. Most teams just throw it long.
Dongo still scoreless, has only taken 1 shot attempt. It was a forced turnaround jumper late in the shot clock. 5 to shoot. McCollum with 2. And that will go against Georgia Tech.
Just not a great look by Georgia Tech, and they're going to struggle on the offensive end. But this lineup, I think you got to run your offense and try to get with your guard, run a ball screen maybe with Dongo, get a switch, get him going. Right now, Javian McCollum is struggling right now to get a good look.
Florida State on a 7-0 run. They have shot above 50% from the floor so far this afternoon. Jackson. Last touch by Georgia Tech. It'll stay here with 12 to shoot.
Jackson lucky that time. It went off his leg and McCollum touched it by accident, not seeing it. And well, he's got out of his zone. He got back into their man-to-man now, but they're going to be a sagging man-to-man looking to stay inside.
Jackson's got quite a streak going. 1 turnover in the last 5 games. That holds for now. 5 to shoot. 3 ball from Malique. And the rebound Powell. 4-minute scoring drought for the Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets essentially playing with 3 bigs on the floor, with Suarez, Dongo, and Duncan, Powell Duncan, and it's just no spacing.
Dongo with the offensive board found Suarez, who's making his second career start today. First one came against Clemson, in which he did not attempt a shot. And there's a foul on the floor underneath. It's going to go against Javian McCollum.
They're starting a 3-guard rotation now with Lance Terry coming back in, and they're still playing with 3 frontline players. And this is a Georgia Tech team that is accustomed to playing with 3 guards on the floor at all times, but Justin Mustaf is now out. He's over on the bench in a boot.
Here's Jackson. Another good rebound by Dong.
He's so skilled. He has to find a way to get involved in this game right now. It's Georgia Tech, when it gets back in, it's got to be Dongo's got to start having an impact in this game. And even Nate George, he's got to start attacking. He's a pass-first point guard. Right now, there's a lot of standing around by Georgia Tech, and they're not going to get quality looks against Florida State defense unless you're moving bodies and cutting and moving the basketball. Baseline corner, only 3 seconds left.
Watch for a pass back to the inbounder, Terry. 3-on-2. Davis. Door is being left open right now for Georgia Tech to climb back into this game with just a shade over 8 minutes left in the first half.
Florida State at times help you out. They're not prone to going into scoring droughts because they don't run a system. Everybody's just free to take shots, and this is the end of the floor when it creates their offense.
Watkins from downtown.
I think Damon Stoudemire has seen enough of that. Jameer Watkins with his Steph Curry imitation steals it in transition and stops and pops from 3. Jameer Watkins turning defense into offense there. But oh no, I don't want the layup. I want the 3. Seminoles up 16.
Well, going to commercial break after the timeout by Damon Stoudemire. There was a technical assessed to Daquan Davis right there, middle of your screen, 5 and white, just flipping the ball into the chest of Suarez. And Daquan Davis frustrated with himself. He's actually been, in the words of his head coach, Leonard Hamilton, incredibly mature for being a true freshman who started the last 8 games. Just a mental error there by the freshman point guard.
Yeah, just a freshman mistake, but what he's brought to this Seminole team and the way he attacks the other league guards, I thought he set the tone against Pitt, as I said, with his defense on Lowell, and he's been a spark plug for this Seminole group on both ends of the floor, and let his emotions get the best of him there.
Well, this is an opportunity for Georgia Tech. They were in the midst of another lengthy scoring drought before those 2 made technical foul shots by Lance Terry. Now they'll get the ball. And a chance to cut into this 14-point deficit with less than 8 minutes to go in the opening half.
You get the matchups you want. They're running the switch here, and you got to try to get Dongo involved in this game.
Finds the open man, and Powell rims out a three. Now Georgia Tech 0 for 8 from distance in the first half. Lob to Ewin, left it short.
Coach Ham thought there was a lot of contact there, and find your matchup right now. They're switching everything.
It was a game of hot potato. Leads to an open three. George knocks it down.
George has the ability to score the basketball. He's just a pass-first guys. He's grimacing coming up the floor.
Gripping that right thigh. And again, they can ill afford to lose any more players, particularly at the guard position.
Coach Stoudemire might have to play if they get another injury from the backcourt.
Bol Bowen. Rebound Ewin. Double team lurking with Dongo in the paint. And A.J. Desai kept that one in bounds for the Florida State Seminoles. 10 to shoot. Open three, Jackson.
They're going to give that to Jackson. Anytime he's behind the three-point line, they're going to take their chances with him.
That was really well executed by Nate George, who continues to grimace down the floor, finding Duncan Powell for a dunk.
7-0 run by the Yellow Jackets here. Started with that technical foul.
Last touch by Ewin. It'll go back to the Yellow Jackets.
Georgia Tech trying to get back in it there. It's a great save on a pass by George. He comes in, walks into one, knocks down a three. Starting to chip away at this lead. They're not, think about Florida State. They're not going to let you run your plays. So you got to just play. Pick your matchups, move the basketball, move your body.
Powell, contested three. Not his strong suit.
I thought there was a chance to get the ball inside.
And a whistle. Second foul on Dongo. And the fifth on Georgia Tech.
I think Dongo's telling Duncan Powell, hey, I think I had the guard on me inside. Throw that one inside. Sometimes a quick shot is like a turnover, and I think that's the underrated part of what defensively what Florida State does too. You got to have body movement, ball movement, get it to second, third side. You can't come down with 0 passes or 1 pass. Good
feed. Watkins inside to Christian Nitu. Fresh off the bench for 2.
Coach Ham loves Nitu. He actually says he thinks he has a chance to be the next one coming out of Florida State, meaning the next NBA player. He thinks he has that type of ability at his size. Really gifted to play on the perimeter. But at that time, scoring a basket inside is Nate George. It's an unforced turnover there. Just sets the ball screen, rolls inside. No communication by Georgia Tech on the back end. No rotation. And just one of the many ways that Watkins hurts you as well. He's that time attacking you in the ball screen, and most of the time he's doing his damage on the offensive glass and just punishing smaller defenders.
Tried to zip it back into Nitu. Terry might have caught the brunt of that one. Got him on the side of the face, it looked like. Blocked it, and 12 to shoot for Florida State.
Yeah, he was wide open again on a pick and roll. There's got to be a bit more communication. But when you're in these situations like Georgia Tech, you have these lineups you're not accustomed to having. They're not accustomed to playing together. You make these kind of mistakes.
Nice take by Boston Holt, who earlier in the year was in the starting lineup for Leonard Hamilton, dealt with some injury, missed a couple of games, has been coming off the bench ever since. But if you're not familiar with Leonard Hamilton's system, it really doesn't matter if you start or not, because you still could be playing quote-unquote starter minutes.
Absolutely, and I think he struggled early in the year because he was a pack line guy. And if you know anything about Leonard Hamilton, he runs anything but a pack line.
How about that flush by Lance Terry?
Lance Terry showing you that athleticism we talked about earlier. Need to steps into that three. This is when I think Florida State, they got it off. They get anything they want. Those are the quick shots I think they can. They slow down themselves on the offensive end and put themselves in scoring droughts when they take these quick shots. Continue to move the basketball now. No need to be still. Run your ball screen. Keep attacking these switches.
Bol Bowen. Last touched by the sophomore and gives it back to Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets hanging around, down 11 on the road, looking for their first win in Tallahassee since 2016.
I feel as though they're the second best team in the country from everyone that I've seen so far. But we got a lot of basketball left to play.
Who else in the ACC is contending for that top 2 spot?
I thought it was a group early. It was Pitt, Clemson. I would throw Wake Forest in that group. But Louisville has seemed to have separated themselves, I think, from everyone else.
Well, you and I had the Louisville-Pitt game last weekend. Louisville won that in thrilling fashion. I saw Louisville beat Clemson earlier on this year, so they've got the head-to-head against those other teams that were in the conversation, at least the first time around.
No, they have, and that's why I said there's a lot of basketball left, and their team have had their fair share of injuries as well, and their culture and their style of play and everything they've done to overcome those issues where others have just been unable to do so.
Good block by Nitu, sort of a volleyball block at the net. Knocking it out of bounds, 11 on the clock for Georgia Tech.
You got to know you're going to draw a crowd when you attack the paint against Florida State.
And their length is just so disruptive. Every pass requires such effort. Tough fadeaway by McCollum, and again, last touch by Florida State, so it'll stay here.
What Georgia Tech is doing against this baseline out-of-bound pressure, they're sending their big to this corner, and he's just posting up against the guard.
Soiree taps it into the hands of Powell. Contact and a whistle comes in late. And for the third time in the first half, Duncan Powell will be shooting free throws.
But Duncan Powell is a grown man inside physically. He has a motor to continue to attack the rim when the shot goes up. And the one way you attack length is with physicality. And Powell definitely has that.
He's got the build of a power four tight end. 6'8", 235, and his head coach Damon Stoudemire calls him a grinder. Comes over from Sacramento State, began his career at North Carolina A&T, and relishing the moment to play in the ACC. Back to a 9-point game, 2.5 to go in the opening half.
For a Florida State Seminole fan, when they move the ball side to side, they do a pretty good job with their offense. And look for Malique Ewin in some type of ball screen action and slipping inside.
That was a tough pass there from Thomas to Ewin. Apparently Soiree got a piece of it, so it'll stay here. I didn't think he got any of it.
That's a confident pass there. I didn't think there was a chance he'd get that in there. But what he's relying on is Malique Ewin walking his defender up the lane and having enough time and space to throw it over the top.
One to shoot. And the rebound, George. Floater, Terry. What an athletic move to try and tip it in. Could not. Now Bol Bowen with the jam.
That's a 4-point swing. I thought Georgia Tech had numbers early there in that possession. Ended up throwing it away. That's a quick shot there by George. You can't get it back. When you make a mistake, you can't compound it by creating another one.
And Damon Stoudemire is irate. He has called his third timeout of the first half. We'll take it with him. Back in 30 in Tallahassee.
Damon Stoudemire's not happy right now, and you have numbers going down and you essentially turn it over in transition. You don't get back, give up a basket, come down, take a quick shot, and again, don't get back on the defensive end. Damon Stoudemire has every right to be upset with his ball club, and in particular Nate George there.
They have 7 turnovers in the first half, but you said something earlier that the quick shots are basically like turnovers against Florida State. It's something they do so well. There's been a bunch of those forced for the Yellow Jackets today as well.
Even this possession, it's one pass and a shot. And now your defense isn't set, and Florida State has numbers.
Ewin lob and put down by Watkins. 11 assists and 1 turnover for the Seminoles in the first half.
And the biggest issue you have in preparing for Florida State is you can't simulate the size. You can get your walk-ons and end of the rotation guys, but you can't simulate this length. I mean, that's the center pushing the break, throwing it to the wing in transition. It's just difficult for you to simulate that. Most times when you're defending that, your bigs run to the paint. You play Florida State, your big has to stop the basketball. Your guards have to pick up inside, and you're going to be in all types of cross matchups, and you just got to learn how to play out of it.
McCollum missed on the front end of the 1-and-1. Less than a minute to go in Tallahassee's first half. Watkins challenging Duncan Powell. And Florida State's leading scorer will head to the free throw line.
They hadn't had an answer for anything involving Watkins. When he's in the ball screens, when you switch, he's been able to find guys. That time he rejected the ball screen and attacked the rim and drew the foul. just nothing you can do if you're going to be that late in the ball screen rotation. And his vision, his length, his size in the ball screen, he's throwing over the top of this Georgia Tech team, and you can see they're bickering amongst each other. They're frustrated as well.
You can feel it.
Yeah, they're
You
frustrated.
can feel the Georgia Tech frustration bubbling up here. In the midst of a 3-game skid, there was so much promise for this team after the foundation built last year. Remember, they beat this Florida State team last year. They beat North Carolina. They beat Clemson.
This team opened up ACC play a year ago, beating Duke at home. And they beat Carolina at home. You were expecting this team to take a step. And again, they've been decimated with injuries. There's no doubt about that. But right now, you can see the frustration mounting in the middle of a 3-game losing streak. And bodies are still guys that continue to be unavailable to Damon Stoudemire. And it's frustrating enough playing against the Seminoles in their style of play as a team that they're starting to click.
Duncan Powell on the catch and shoot from distance. Just the second made 3 of the first half for Georgia Tech. They've taken 14, and they trail by 13.
Florida State here a hold for the last possession. Again, the Watkins ball screen action is he'll pick the matchup he wants. He's going to try to attack Powell on the ball screen.
Good tap by McCollum. 4 to shoot for Florida State.
Plenty of time. 4 seconds, you got to know. You often tell your guys you got how many seconds on the clock, that's how many dribbles you have. In the half court, you got plenty of options here. You don't have to settle for a catch and shoot 3.
Leonard Hamilton's going to take a timeout here. He wants to draw something up. We will step aside and back in 30 seconds for the conclusion of the first half.
Yeah, they're upset.
A spirited Georgia Tech huddle. Javian McCollum in the middle of it, trying to inspire his teammates, who, as we've talked about over the first 20 minutes of this game, have been decimated by injuries, disappointing losses, and trying to get a stop here, first and foremost, to close the first half and keep it to a 13-point game.
And you get frustrated, and the problem is everybody's upset at themselves and the way things are going. And it's the tone of it. When you're in a battle like this, you know, your energy's high, tension's high, you're yelling and you mean well. You hope the guys just listen to what you're saying and not how you're saying it.
3 to shoot, Watkins. Well defended to close the first half by Georgia Tech, but Florida State shot 44%. Including 5
teammates. Quan Davis is really heating up the basketball. He does a great job of staying in front.
Oh, that's a tough shot by Nate George. Well defended by Davis.
That's good defense, a better offense.
Ewin, not super active scoring the ball in the first half, turns it over. He was very effective rebounding the ball and sharing it with his teammates. And yet they had a 13-point lead at the break regardless.
No one really forces the ball offensively with the Seminoles. I think when they all sharing it, they're at their best. Malique Ewin gets it in the post. He's looking to pass. An underrated skill set as a passer.
Here's a guy you want to see get going. Baidongo had just 1 field goal attempt in the first half. Terry off the bounce.
But they saw the
buckets for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, the ball went inside. He's throwing it back out when the double team comes. I'd like to see him throw it back into him a couple of times, but no problem with reversing and in the guard on the weak side attacking.
Great defense there by Terry. And draws a foul as he crashes hard to the floor and gripping that wrist, which held him out of the Clemson game earlier this week.
Yeah, I think he used his arm to brace himself after the foul. And great job creating the steal. Gets the contact there.
And again, if you're not familiar with the way Georgia Tech's season has gone, just about every injury they could have, they've had, including Lance Terry missing their last game.
Previous plays under review.
To his shooting hand. And they're going to check this for a flagrant. There's a shot of the three gentlemen who are missing today: O'Brien, Kawasi Reeves, and Jaden Mustaf. Did you see flagrant contact here on this play?
Well, I think by the intent of the rule, Watkins bumped him without making a play for the ball. Like, watch this. I didn't think that was enough to call a flagrant. There's contact, there's a foul. This left arm is where the foul is. It's definitely a foul. I don't know if I'd call it a flagrant. I thought he sensed the contact and was trying to avoid the foul, and obviously with Lance Terry laying there in pain. And if you're Georgia Tech, you're right here. You battle back, strong start to this second half, giving yourself a chance to get back in this. Definitely want the officials to take a look at it.
Of course, Terry was an airborne player, but there wasn't seemingly excessive contact.
Call on the floor stands as a common foul.
I think that's the right call. Common foul will send Lance Terry to the line, assuming he's okay here. That's the bigger story for Georgia Tech. Gripping the wrist of his shooting hand, and it appears he's going to stay in the game.
He's a tough kid. He's banged up. Was supposed to be eased into the lineup. Maybe a little bit of minute restriction today. But
none of that today.
I think that's got thrown out of the window.
5 20-point games this year for Lance Terry. Has cut it to 6. Deep three. Watkins left it short. Bol Bowen the rebound. Tapped away by McCollum and one back for Georgia Tech.
Great offensive rebound. Even better defense there by Javion McCollum. Stripping the basketball and knocking it off of Bol Bowen's knee.
We wondered what we would see from Georgia Tech coming out of the halftime locker room. Very telling these first few minutes here of the second frame. Dongo counted in the foul, and a chance to make it a one-possession game.
Great job there. Getting Dongo the ball on the move. They've been doubling him in the post. He knows he's coming. You get him on the perimeter now. He puts it down. Double team can't get there quick enough, and Dongo with a chance with an and one here. Just great job getting in the paint, but great coaching move by Stoudemire. He's not involved in this game when you try to post him up. Get him on the perimeter, get him on the move, get him more touches.
He had 10 rebounds in the first half, just 1 field goal attempt, and makes it a one-possession game after they trailed by 13 at the half. Watkins forcing the issue, draws a foul on the floor.
That's the one
play against Terry.
That's the one play they hadn't been able to stop. Watkins in the ball screen and letting him be your playmaker in the half court is finding guys, drawing fouls, or dumping it inside. I think you need to continue to run your offense through Watkins in the half court, but he doesn't need to settle. He needs to attack.
Leads the country in fouls drawn per game with over 8. Second in the nation in free throw attempts per game. Chandler Jackson flexing on the low block. Tough through contact.
Continue to move the basketball for Georgia Tech. Don't settle. Drive the pass.
McCollum stripped. Soiree fighting for it. And tied up between Dongo and Chandler Jackson.
When you attack Florida State, you're going to draw a crowd. You get in the paint against all that length. You got to attack and look to kick the basketball outside. You get inside to score. 4 bodies inside. Dongo tries to tie up Jackson. Ends up being a turnover for the Yellow Jackets. This has been a play that's given him a lot of trouble. This ball screen action again, another foul.
It is the second on the redshirt freshman Ibrahim Soare. And another foul drawn by Jameer Watkins. I asked him about that coming into the game. You know, is that something that you're intentional about? He said, not really. It's just always been my game to be aggressive. And he's so athletic, so physical, it comes natural to draw those fouls. And another foul on Soare. That will be number 3.
He's got a couple of quick ones there, but back to Watkins. He's just a matchup nightmare. I mean, he's 6'8". He's physical. His body type, if you put a big on him, he takes you on the perimeter. You put a guard on him, he posts you up inside. He sees over the top. And that's what he's doing to the Yellow Jackets now. When he gets in these ball screens, he's just throwing over top of the smaller defenders. Now he's trying to post up Terry here.
Soare goes to the bench with 3 fouls. In comes Duncan Powell. And the rebound, Dongo.
You can see the game plan as the lead Chandler Jackson open behind the 3-point line. You're more worried about him penetrating, and so whoever's guarding him is going to stay in the paint and try to help on the penetration by the other players.
Floated into Dongo and stripped, but there was a foul. And it goes against the Seminoles. Chandler Jackson tagged with his first.
The switching in the length of the guards of Georgia Tech, Florida State is an issue. They switch. They don't have small guards. Daquan Davis is the smallest guy, 6'1", and if he's not involved in the play, then you're dealing with a lot of size.
3-point line has not been kind today to Georgia Tech. Now 2 for 15. Florida State running back the other way. Bol Bowen steps into a 3.
Another poor possession there by the Yellow Jackets, not matching up defensively, not communicating, and gave Bol Bowen an open look.
Back to an 8-point game. 16 minutes to go in regulation. Five to shoot for McCollum. Hounded by Davis. Tough fadeaway.
Wow.
Numbers for Florida State. Davis set back by George, and it'll stay here.
This is a different Florida State team. You don't match up in transition. They will make you pay. Bol Bowen with another 3.
For a hot second, it was a 3-point game. Then Florida State stretched the lead back out to 8, led by as many as 13 at the half. And this is a big game for Leonard Hamilton's team, coming off their first quad 1 win of the season against Pitt right here a few days ago. No bad losses, quote unquote bad losses. This would be a quad 3 loss against Georgia Tech. You want to keep that section of your resume unblemished.
You want to keep it clean. You don't have a ton of quad 1 opportunities going forward. And right now, as we enter late January and into February, you want to see a team start to take that step and get to the top of this league.
That's the tough part, though, about the ACC this year. Georgia Tech's not an easy out.
No.
They're going to catch some teams on the road, and that will go down as a Q3 loss, which then hurts your resume. So every time a team's playing Georgia Tech at home, it is a huge game, particularly if you're Florida State. They come in 65th in the net today, Randolph. They're very much in the bubble conversation.
Absolutely. And they have a tremendous opportunity, not just taking care of business today. They go to California. They got the Cal and the Stanford trip. They come home and host the Hokies, and you can somehow win those 2 games and take care of business at home. You're talking about 7-3. And literally, I think that puts them in the tournament and in tournament conversation.
Pitt right now down at home against Clemson. They were down 10 at the half, which is a huge game for Pitt after losing on the road here a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Pitt's down now 11 there. I think that's a massive game that Pitt has to take care of, because if that would be 4 straight games, but more importantly, they would have dropped 2 at home against with Louisville and Clemson, the 2 teams that they kind of were competing against for that NCAA tournament spot.
And again, this is a Pitt team that last year just missed out on the NCAA tournament. They had 9 Q1 and Q2 wins. They're not anywhere close to that this year. That's why they need some of those wins at home, as Terry knocks down a deep 2.
I think that's the best offensive possession Georgia Tech has had. Just penetrating, creating opportunities. The ball going from side to side on the floor. You got to move this Seminole defense.
Watkins, step back 3. And he is in double figures for the 15th consecutive game.
You got to live with that if you're Georgia Tech. That's just a big-time shot. He is starting to become really consistent behind the 3-point line.
Oh, that's a ticky-tacky foul there for Watkins.
He's trying to steal it. You just want to pressure the basketball. Speed's Aquavian up. I mean, J.V. McCullum is too good with the ball in his hands. You're not going to steal it.
McCollum a 3. Oh, shooters roll on the road, and he makes it back to a single-digit deficit.
He shakes it off. He's a scorer now.
Ewin extra pass, snatched by Terry. Here comes Duncan Powell. Step through, draws a foul on Thomas. And that is number 2 on the UTSA transfer.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Ball short, hits the rim, gets the friendly hometown bounce. Cut into the Seminole lead.
Timeout taken by Leonard Hamilton. We will take it with them. Georgia Tech hanging around in Tallahassee. Florida State on top, 47-39, 14-16 left. Divisional playoffs this weekend in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes undefeated as a starter in AFC divisional games, 6-0 Randolph, 13 touchdowns, no picks. If you're a betting man, who you going with in that game?
I think I'm going to bet with Mahomes. I'm just penciling him in the conference championship game. It's just what they do. It's what Pat Mahomes does. His start to his career is, man, he's on the pace he's on right now.
Pretty amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
They also have a lethal weapon in the kicking game, Harrison Butker, who got his start at Georgia Tech, who right now is trying to get it back to a 2-possession game whilst trying to snap a 3-game losing streak.
been no quitting the Yellow Jackets. They have battled back, and the Seminoles, I think, has helped them. Been a little casual with the basketball and their decision making. They too can get in trouble taking quick shots.
Thomas left that way short. Ewin kept it alive. Shot clock did not reset. Watkins, no, and the rebound secured by George. Georgia Tech with life still. Less than 14 minutes to play. Terry. A lot of the fans behind us wanted to walk. They won't get it, but a foul sends Watkins to the floor. And is that on Soiree? It is, and that is his fourth. He just checked back into the game, and now will be headed back to the bench with 4 fouls.
Yeah, Soiree as a freshman's got to know. Just got to get back. You got 3. You notice coaches told him how Watkins loved to draw fouls and force the official to blow the whistle, and he did so on that possession. Now you got to go sit for a significant amount of time.
Bol Bowen with his 7th double-figure scoring performance of the season from downtown. Dongo sent away by Watkins. Spiked into the 3rd row.
Yeah, Watkins comes inside. You're going to draw help. And this is the ACC leader in block shots because they got multiple guys coming in. Dongo did a great job of beating his man, but you're playing the Seminoles, you're going to have to beat 2 and 3 defenders to get an open look.
Second tallest team in the country behind only Duke, and their length always in play. Terry for 3. Got it. And Tech remains in it. 16 for their leading scorer. Ewin fouled by Dongo on the 2nd tap.
Just continue to move the basketball there. But Florida State, again, Watkins as a playmaker is a problem. They still can't match it up. But this is what you got to do against this defense. Penetrate to pass, baseline drive, kick. They one more it over and reverse it. You get an open look. That's the way you have to attack the Seminoles. And how many of those type of possessions can you string together to determine if they can get back in this lead and overtake the Seminoles? But on this other end, for the Seminoles here, Watkins as your playmaker has just virtually been unstoppable. That time with the smaller Lance Terry on him, he goes inside, and again, he's just looking over top of the smaller defenders. You come in double through the lob to Malique Ewin and was fouled on the play. And you're not making shots. Find Watkins, put him inside against the guard or put him in a ball screen when he's guarded by a bigger defender. I think he gets a quality shot for the Seminoles. Full court pressure shouldn't bother you as much. And the amount of handlers they have, but you can't be sloppy with the basketball. Stoudemire's looking at JV and McCollum right now. Like, what are you doing?
10th turnover. And now 19 points off turnovers for Florida State in this game.
They have absolutely just punished them on those turnovers. If you're going to turn it over, it's got to be dead ball. Great penetration kick. One more. Drive it, pass it.
McCollum for 3.
Clinic of how you attack this team, but you got to get back.
Steals the pass. Floats and hits. And McCollum with 7 points. Makes it an 8-point game. Dang. Off the window with some touch.
Georgia Tech was late to transition back into their zone defense there. A couple of guys were in man-to-man, a couple of guys are in zone. Never established their defense.
Duncan Powell with a strong take, left it short, and last touch by Georgia Tech gives it back to FSU, who's extended their lead back to 10.
Turnovers have been the issue, and you cannot have live ball turnovers against the Seminoles. Won't get any easier than that by Hope.
shortened Georgia Tech bench with injuries, missing 4 players today, and now they're missing Ibrahim Soare. He's been on the bench for a long stretch of time with 4 fouls. Dongo just picked up his 3rd. Foul trouble plus injuries has really tightened the rotation for Damon Stoudemire.
Well, he's going zone now, trying to protect this group. With Soare picking up 4, the 5 guys they have left, Dongo being the 5, is going to have to figure it out. Going to have to play zone to protect Dongo inside.
It's pretty remarkable what Damon Stoudemire's team has been able to do. Yes, they're not necessarily winning these tough ACC games, but they've played 6 players
competing. And against this pressure, you know, the extension of pressure, full court at times, and not a bad amount of turnovers. It's just that Florida State has just punished them and have been so efficient in taking turnovers and scoring on them. Now they're packing it in so they can rebound.
Jackson in the mid-range has been money. He has 8 points this afternoon. McCollum, floater, Dongo had it tapped away. Dang comes away with it.
Well, he had an opportunity there.
There was a backcourt violation. Meanwhile, at the end of the play, Chandler Jackson went down.
I thought the call was late, but I thought it was correct. Established himself in the full court, throw it in the backcourt. He was late, but I thought it was the right call.
Damon Stoudemire was helping the officials out with that call.
He's fighting, man. They don't call him Mouty Mouse for nothing. He's out here competing.
13-year NBA veteran.
Telling his guards, he's on his guards. That opportunity there, the lob to Dongo in the previous possession was there, and Javion McCollum threw it late and ended up being a turnover.
Nearly stolen by Thomas. And that's something we see so frequently with this Florida State team. Something as academic as an inbounds pass becomes a lot more difficult against this length.
They remind me of, and since we talked about it last when you and I had Pitt and Louisville, how they try to win sideline out of bounds and baseline out of bounds plays. Florida State does the same. They're just doing it on the defensive end of the floor. They're running pressure. They're pressing you out of that, and there's zone pressure, trying to create and force turnovers out of baseline, out of bounds, and side out of bounds.
And as a player, how much does that exhaust you?
Oh, it is, because you end up putting in plays, your coaching staff ends up putting in plays just getting the ball in. So you're no longer running plays to score. You're running plays just to inbound the basketball. Drive and pass it.
5 to shoot. McCollum tries and hits from downtown.
Got to get the ball from one side to the other. Great offensive possession there for the Yellow Jackets.
Holt on the drive, left it short. Bodies on the deck. McCollum comes away with it. Home run pass to Terry. And here comes Tech.
Going back in the zone. Thomas has got to free himself up. Justin Thomas here is airballed his last shot. He's got to get ready.
And there's a whistle off the ball against Florida State. It will go against Alir Malouk.
They're starting to settle in. The penetration there, one more. It's been the key. You got to pass, drive the basketball to pass to a teammate. Georgia Tech getting a chance to run out there. The zone allows you to do that. They're back in that zone right now because they only have 5 bodies out there. Soare has 4 fouls. I think he's on the bench for an extended period of time. Let's just hope they can keep enough energy as they're making their run to get back in this game.
One more foul for each team. We'll put the other in the bonus. Still well over 9 minutes to play in regulation. foul. And here comes Watkins.
A bad shot, but the execution on the offensive end to get the shot was good.
Watkins, power dribble, threads it into Ewin, who draws a foul with the left hand. And that might be number 4 on Baidongo. It is. And now where do you go if you're Damon Stoudemire? They do have Ryan Mutombo on the bench. We have not seen him today.
I think he has to maybe try to put Suarez in with 4 fouls, and if he fouls out, then at least you can come back with Baidongo. But they're making a run. They're right back. They're right back in this game. But you can ill afford to have him foul out. It's a ton of time. It's a 7-point game, over 9 minutes to play, and on cue, here's Ibrahim Suarez coming in.
Foul trouble's been an issue all year for Baidongo. He's fouled out of 3 games. He's been in significant foul trouble in 5 others.
Yes.
Make it 6 as he heads to the bench with his 4th.
I think that's what's limited him from taking another step. That's the step you expected him to take as a sophomore. Just a difficult matchup.
McCollum draws a foul and heads into the first row of seats, taking out a cameraman with him. Second foul on Watkins. And are the officials going to review this here?
But they counted the foul. Yeah, and they're Georgia Tech's benches.
Leonard Hamilton's wanting an explanation. We're going to get one real quick here from Michael Kitts.
Freeze plays under review.
They're reviewing whether or not this was goaltending.
I thought Watkins got his hand on it on the way up.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
To me, changed the course of the ball when Watkins extended his arm.
Yes.
But nonetheless, both teams now in the bonus, which I don't know about you, but I feel like that favors Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think Watkins gets a hand of that, gets a piece of that. And well, see, the problem I think with that is now you're going to be forced to put someone in a lineup at Georgia Tech. Free throw shooting wise, it favors
Call the
Georgia
floor,
Tech.
basket
Availability.
Overturn. 2 shots.
I think they got it right on that. Watkins got beat on the play, but got a piece of it. And as the officials telling him to tuck his shirt, it's just a 2-shot foul, which is critical instead of an and one.
I guess my thought for Damon Stoudemire's team is they've had it as close as 3, but they haven't been able to get over that hump. Maybe scoring at the foul line with the clock stopped allows them to, but again, to your point, they have to not foul on the defensive side.
That's the other side of it. Both teams are in the bonus, and you got Ibrahim Suarez in now with 4 fouls. His next one, he's out, and if he fouls out, Baidongo has 4 fouls, and you know the Seminoles know that, and they're going to attack him.
By the way, that was the 3rd on Florida State's leading scorer, Jameer Watkins. 2-possession game, 9 minutes and change to play in Tallahassee. Florida State winners of 5 of their last 7, coming off their first quad 1 win of the season against Pitt. Undefeated in Q3 and Q4 games. This is a Q3 game against Georgia Tech. Dang off the mark, but his teammate Ewin is there to dunk it home.
Continue to drive, pass to a teammate.
Powell, second chance, was fouled by Ewin.
It's a great job here by Ewin. No box out. Suarez goes over to help, and no one there to box out Malique Ewin, and he keeps it off the glass and flushes it home.
Well, we've just received word that Chandler Jackson will not return in this game for Florida State. Remember, a couple of minutes ago, after the over and back call, we saw Chandler Jackson down under the Florida State basket and grimacing. And we have received word that after exiting the game. He will not return.
And Malique, and you just get a picture of Jackson there, and he's played well. Defensively, he's been a pest and knocked down some timely floaters. He's also a leader of this team. Most experienced player, been here the longest. He and Watkins are the guys that lead this ball club. And
two very easy buckets back-to-back for Florida State, and it extends their lead back to double digits. Timeout, Damon Stoudemire. Florida State has made 3 in a row, trying to hang on for their 6th win in the last 8 games.
California trip affects people in different ways, and when you haven't experienced it yet, you don't know what to expect, and how you get there and when you get there and what time you play is always an issue. But I think they have a favorable schedule in that, because their game is at 9 o'clock Eastern time on a Wednesday.
George rims it down. A little bit different ACC now than when you were playing, huh?
Yes, but you know what? I actually went to California and played a game when Jason Kidd was there in college.
Was that difficult for you to adjust to the time change?
I'm too old to remember. It depends. If we lost the game, then that's what I'm going to blame it on.
I was going to say, that's a good excuse. Davis, extra pass. Thomas, no. Rebound, Watkins, and the putback is good.
That's the problem you have with Watkins. When you have a smaller defender on him, it's just find ways to score. And now, where do you go if you're Georgia Tech? It has to be the same. You have to drive past the teammates. Great cut there by Lance Terry, unable to finish. Can backdoor some against this overly aggressive defense.
Ewin, no. Rebound, Powell. George with a 2-on-2 here if he wants it. Stripped by Davis, and the freshman wins it back for Florida State. Now, hang on a second, because Coach Stoudemire wants the officials to get together here, and they're going to overturn the call. Jamel Spearman came in from across court. He saw something different as we take another look.
That is great job of Davis moving his feet, guessing which direction Nate George was going to go, and almost creating a steal. And see now, look at the lineup of Florida State. They're zoning this up. Watch Davis. He's standing there taking a player that comes in. So you're not just getting it in bounds. You can't run your normal stuff, because if not, you get a turnover. That is what most teams do. You just throw it back. You just throw it back and run your offense. So they eliminate having to defend your sideline out of bounds plays.
Nice take by Duncan Powell. And the Sacramento State transfer is headed back to the free throw line yet again.
It's a great job there. That's one thing that can hurt the Seminoles, is that when you fake dribble handoffs, because they're anticipating the switch. They switch everything. The dribble handoffs coming right before they can switch. Duncan Powell fakes it and drives it.
Duncan Powell has made more free throws than the Seminoles have attempted this afternoon. He is now 11 for 12 and he cuts it to a 7-point deficit.
He just does everything well. He's a solid player. Not a great shooter, but he knocks down threes.
I believe there's an issue here with the shot clock or with the game clock. One of two. Jamel Spearman blowing it dead as Daquan Davis was bringing it up the floor. And they got it corrected. 28 to shoot for Florida State.
Look at Ewin's inside the middle of that zone. And look at the cutters. They got constant movement and cutters on the baseline as well.
Ewin, that is great touch by the JUCO transfer.
Yeah, getting him the ball in the middle of that zone. His ability to pass.
George, step back three. Splash.
Take that shot. You got to make it. No one else touches it. You dribble up the floor against the pressure and take a quick shot.
That's one of those
yes. That's exactly what it is. Like, what are you? Great shot.
Ewin trying to use his size. Davis with less than 10. Bit of a scramble here for the Seminoles. Bol Bowen was fouled, and that's on Dongo, and he is fouled out. And has extra words from Michael Kitts as he goes to the bench.
He's frustrated. That's a really bad foul. Damon Stoudemire is telling him to calm down.
Got in the way of the landing zone for Bol Bowen.
He clipped him on the left, in a follow through on his right arm, and just got to allow him to come down. You come out and contest, and he tried to avoid it. It's a frustrating night by Dongo. Couldn't get involved in the game early. Not a lot of touches for him.
That's sort of a double whammy for Georgia Tech. It was late in the shot clock on a great defensive possession. Now 3 shots at the foul line, and you lose arguably your best post player in Dongo.
It's a brutal foul. And again, we talked about it. He's got to find a way to stay on the floor. He's just invaluable to the Yellow Jackets. And that was a big possession there. It's a 6-point game. You rebound that, you come down, a chance to make it a 4-point game or 3.
So now Ibrahim Soare is back on the floor in place of Dongo. He too is playing with 4 fouls. One more and he will be out.
Well, you look at the bench. James Forrest there, he's out of eligibility.
David Stoudemire's way out of eligibility.
Stoudemire is out. Bonzi Wells out of eligibility. I don't know where they're going to go.
Some good names there, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you put them out there, yes.
They won a lot of basketball games. Only one made shot out of 3 at the line for Bol Bowen. 7-point game, 5 minutes and change to go in Tallahassee. Georgia Tech trying to snap a 3-game skid. McCollum, extra pass. Terry pays it off from distance.
Dangerous moment here for Florida State. I mean, Georgia Tech has found the recipe. They're getting the ball in the paint, getting rotation, spraying it out to shooters. And right now, on this end of the floor, the ball's got to go to Ewin and continue to move and cut.
Ewin over the top of Powell and flexes after that banks in off the window. Home run pass, Davis, up and in, and the foul.
How many times have we seen that very situation? Quick shot, you miss, and give up a basket on the other end. And the way this game is going, the Yellow Jackets going to look at just those opportunities. Nate George with a quick shot. Davis releases. And George compounds the problem with giving him a foul and a potential and one.
Leonard Hamilton told us Daquan Davis has that it factor. Highly touted recruit, top 60 in the country coming out of high school. We are starting to see that take form in his first year in the collegiate game.
Yeah, it's going well, and it's got to be happy with the way things are going. Recruiting's always went well. for the Seminoles.
Oh, and a blocking foul there. Even with the extended arm by Nate George, sending Holt to the floor. And you can hear how the Tallahassee faithful feel about it.
Yeah, I would agree with the fans. And luckily for Nate George, he's such a competitor, but he's making a mistake, and when he makes a mistake, he tries to come back and make a play. He's got to learn to just reset, just play on, get to the next play. Get fortunate with that call.
Second chance, one back by Powell. McCollum, drive and kick. George. Soiree the board, left it short, and draws a foul. Back to the line go the Yellow Jackets. But how many of those near misses have we seen from Tech, particularly in the second half?
They're knocking on the door. They're right there. And Seminoles unable to put them away. Nothing drives a coach madder than free throw, not boxing out the free throw line and giving up offensive rebounds. You're hoping that he gives you one. Ibrahim Soiree shooting 28% of the year. Doesn't shoot a ton of free throws. He's 4 of 14 on the year. You're just hoping to get a split when he goes to the line and see if he can help you out and oblige, and no, he misses both.
They've missed 4 in a row. Prior to that, they had only missed 2 in the game. Florida State on the verge of blowing this open. Watkins! And off the foot of Ewin, but there was a foul in there called by Spearman. And it will go against Duncan Powell. And that will send Florida State to the free throw line.
Georgia Tech get empty-handed on that last possession, giving themselves an opportunity.
With 2 chances.
Yes, and missing the free throws. And you're running out of bodies and you're fatigued. And Seminoles are starting to make a concerted effort to put the ball in Malique Ewin's hands.
Meanwhile, Malique Ewin with his 4th consecutive double-double. Makes them both. And pushes the lead back to 11. 4 minutes to go in Tallahassee.
They're going to switch. Too much dribbling. You got to drive it and make a play for someone else.
Last touch by Watkins. It'll stay here. When we return, Florida State on a 7-0 run over the last 65 seconds. They lead it by 11 at home. Well, coming up next, a big game for the SMU Mustangs, who are currently next 4 out, according to our Joe Lenardi. Boopy Miller went off in the game against Virginia. A scary game for SMU, winning at the buzzer. Meanwhile, Lynn Kidd trying to lead a resurgence for this Miami team that is so talented and so capable of rattling off a number of wins in this league. That's a big game for SMU.
It is, and the Hurricanes coming in with a 6-game losing streak, and it's a lot of talent on that team.
Too much talent for the way the season has gone.
To be 0-6 in conference play, they'll eventually figure it out and win some games, particularly at home in Miami. But if SMU wants to take a step and put themselves on the other side of the bubble, they need to find a way to win that game.
Meanwhile, Florida State trying to play themselves onto the bubble. 3 to shoot for McCollum. Step back with 1. Backs it in.
That's all you could do. Just tries to step back and heave it up. And over the length of Watkins, banged in a three.
McCollum with 15. No look pass to Bol Bowen. Threaded by Ewin, who has had an excellent game. 15 points, 11 boards, 4 assists. Picked off by Ewin. Watch out.
He is so valuable, so versatile, and I think so underrated. He just does everything. I mean, how many centers are out in the passing lane on the wing?
There's a reason he was the #1 JUCO recruit in the country.
And the defensive player of the year. But his
McCollum
offensive
is
skills are on
volleyball
display.
spiked.
Speaking of defensive players, he's driven the ball, backing down Powell. The triple team comes. And I think his most underrated skill set is his passing ability. And here in the passing lane with the steal and the easy 2 points.
Well, Watkins looked like he wanted to pick that one off. Instead, he picks the pocket of Powell. And one.
I think they're going to get Duncan Powell with an intentional foul there. He grabbed his jersey as he was going up. I think the officials are trying to calm Watkins down. Watch here, he grabs his jersey. Just great defense. Another 2 points off turnovers for the Seminoles.
This is going to stay a common foul.
It's going to stay a common foul.
They did not go to the monitor, though they did confer after the whistle on the floor. Jameer Watkins at the line.
Littleton was just over there asking for it. He just waved his hands. But he was asking for it, and I thought he righteously so. They called the foul, but I thought he grabbed his jersey on a breakaway.
Florida State on a 14-3 run over the last 2.5 minutes. And barring a miracle, have secured their 6th win in the last 8 games. Davis, lob to Bol Bowen. Hammer time. And they just got him for hanging on the rim. But I don't think it matters to anybody in this building right now.
I don't think anyone's concerned about that. Up and away by Bol Bowen. And I think it's the slap on the glass. I think if he lets go when he dunks it here, he's okay. But when you pull up and slap the backboard, they're not going to let you get away with that one. Bol Bowen with the exclamation point here for the Seminoles. He's looking to make a statement and let everybody know in the ACC. Seminoles have knocking on the doorstep to get them put themselves in the conversation and in the tournament talk. Coach Ham said he was worried about his guys. They had played out against Pitt, but there was a little bit of conversation going back and forth because Cam Cornwood is on that team and the former Seminoles, and he helped motivate his guys. He was worried about his guys coming out today with a Yellow Jacket team that was limited with players and how they respond. I think he's got to be pleased with his guys.
No doubt. Lance Terry at the line to shoot the technical foul shots. We've talked about it. I mean, this is a big game for Florida State in terms of their NCAA tournament resume. Right. They will remain undefeated against Q3 and Q4 opponents. You look ahead for Leonard Hamilton's team. A lot of Q1 and Q2 opportunities left. Not here immediately, but once you get into February, 6 Q1 and Q2s left on the schedule for Florida State.
You'd like to go 5-0 in that stretch, but they can find a way to go 4-1. If not go 5-0, They will find themselves, I think, on the right side of the bubble.
And they're really floating right there.
Yes.
65 in the net. The metrics like them. They do not have any bad losses. You string together 3 or 4 wins over that Q1, Q2 stretch in February. You don't lose any of those on your next 5. Now all of a sudden, you're looking at an opportunity.
The question will become is, can they handle success? You start winning. Do you keep the same tenacity in the defensive end of the floor? And this team has had letdowns in the past.
And they're hungry for it here. They haven't been to the tournament since 2021. They've missed the last 3. Before that, they went to 4 out of 5.
They were one of the premier teams in the league years ago. And I think the pandemic, I think, was their best chance to be a Final Four, if not a national championship team. That was an elite roster.
Tell you what, Javian McCollum's had a heck of an afternoon. 20 points, 4 assists, 2 boards. It comes in a losing effort, but a valiant one at that for Georgia Tech. Depleted like no other team in this conference right now. They played 6 guys today. 1 fouled out, 2 with 4. They're missing 4 due to injury, and they continue to fight.
They're going to battle. I mean, credit to Damon Stoudemire and his staff. These guys are going to continue to compete, and they have enough. They can just get 1 or 2 of those guys back, give them some quality minutes on the bench. Got to keep the ball here. No fouls. Just dribble the clock out.
Florida State's going to do it. Wasn't easy the whole time. 3-point game at 1 point for Leonard Hamilton's team, who has now won 6 of their last 8. And they are certainly inching their way